ए कान्हा है।
हेलो ज्योति।
जस्ट स्टार्ट
स्ट्रीमिंग
गुड।
स्ट्रीमिंग
We are
करो
live now. We are live now, sir.
ऑलरेडी।
Yes, yes, sir.
ओके ओके।
जस्ट स्टार्ट गुड। जस्ट थिंकर्स।
All my friends, now we are going to start our 113 webinar in international among Odia peoples, and this time the topic is very important: the challenges of electricity and its generation, transmission, distribution, regulation, and goal towards green energy. This is a topic suggested by Mr. Vivek Patnaik, and is our experienced engineer BC Jana has agreed to speak on this topic independently with his laptop demonstration. And as you all know, without electricity, how it is difficult to live in the society. In previously, there was no electricity. I mean, if you compare the past and the present, now we are so much comfort by this department. As you know, Mr. Engineer BC Jana, he has pursued his promotion to IS in the year 1996, and he continued in his own department, and he became electricity board chairman, and so many assignments as I have marked in my programs. Now he will speak details on his subject. I will request Mr. Jana, please speak details from this topic, and
Thank
whenever
you.
required, we can ask, we can clear our doubt by asking questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I will go through the presentation without any loss of time. So this is the first slide. Then page of page of.
Sir, our Vivek Patnaik will preside over the meeting. Sir, do you like to speak some introduction regarding this topic? Vivek Patnaik, sir, do you want to give an?
No. I will speak at the end.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Engineer BC Jana, please, you can start your demonstration.
I will continue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So power sector, first slide is OSCB came into existence on 31/3/61 through a state government notification and functioning under Indian Electricity Act 1948. In fact, prior to OSCB, all of us, we know that distribution companies were, private companies were taking up distribution. For example, in Cuttack, the Cuttack Electric Supply Company, owned by Octavia Steel, was running the power. So also in Puri, so also in Bhadrak and Balasore. So there were a number of private distribution companies who were taking up this job in a small manner. But after formation of OSCB, state government felt that a large amount of work cannot be done through them. So it took over in 1948, distribution, small generation capacities, generation and transmission, everything. Change only. Now I will tell you what is the present status from 61, 62 to till privatization. Installed till 31/3/2024. Installed capacity is 10,469. Transmission and distribution lines are 6,03,165. Total energy input is 40,122.23 MU. Energy sold is 39.07, and consumer served is around 1 crore, 95 lakhs. Assets use details are not available. Employees are 13,407. Per capita consumption, previously it was 31.8 in 61-62. Now it is 2,419. Good, it end. Now it shows OSCV initially assets taken over by the government of Odisha, revalue and vested with OHPC. This is at the time of reform in 1996. In fact, before Odisha was the first state to go for reforms, it enacted one Odisha Reforms Act 1995 with presidential assent, and this was what it did in a subsequent year. OHPC, first it was OHPC and GRIDCO. Then under GRIDCO, all the undivided GRIDCO, all the distribution functions, transmission functions, everything were there. Now, after that, it was SESCO, NESCO, WESCO, SOUTHCO, and GRIDCO. All these were formed. And subsequently, the SESCO, NESCO, and WESCO were privatized. Now, SESCO was initially privatized as AES. Took over the American company took over the distribution, but all of a sudden it quit the distribution company. So OERC intervened and formed one entity that is called SESU, which was this the central distribution company, which is now under Tata Power. This all happened in 2020. Then NESCO won for 21 and WESCO was privatized when 1121 and SOUTHCO also 1121. Now the total power structure is state installed capacity 2,159.80 megawatt. Thermal generators are OPGC only one, stage 1 and 2 17.40, 1740 megawatt. IPP Vedanta, GMR Kamalanga, then JITPL Navabharat, JSW 5,049, 60, renewable energy 1,169.75. Total installed capacity is 10,119.15. GRIDCO's share in the state is 6,179.00. Total transmission lines 132 and above is 16,508 kilometers. Distribution lines 33 kV, 11 kV LT line, 5,86,657. Retail consumer base is 95 lakhs. Right. Privatization process. These distribution companies took over, the private distribution company took over 51%, 49% remained with GRIDCO, out of which 10% is given to the employees. Initially, BSES took over 3 companies, that is SOUTHCO, NESCO, and WESCO from 1,499. AES took over SESCO from 1,999 through a process of international competitive bidding. SESCO license revoked on 1/4/2005, but could not be sold due to any bidder, no bidder came forward. So OERC formulated Central Electricity Supply Utility Operation Management, that is SESCO. Licenses of WESCO, NESCO, and SOUTHCO revoked with effect from 4/3/2015 and were managed by an administrator. It happened because of their non-performance. Then GRIDCO, the status of GRIDCO, it is a deemed trading licensee, wholly state-owned undertaking, trading of surplus power in energy market, customer before distribution licenses of the state. In fact, all the power purchase agreements are now with GRIDCO. So GRIDCO receives all power and gives it in turn to the distribution companies according to their requirement, and balance it sells. So GRIDCO is just like in between, is a mediator. OPTCL is a deemed transmission line licensee for intrastate transmission, empowered to discharge SLDC function till further orders of the state government. Here I will point out one thing, that according to the Reforms Act, this power purchase agreements which are now with GRIDCO are supposed to be with the distribution companies, because they will purchase power directly from the generator and will distribute to the to the consumer. And SLDC function, this is envisaged in the initial 1995 Act. And SLDC functions, SLDC will act like it is like a monitor. So it will be a department, I mean a corporation under the state government, so that it will monitor the functioning of transmission lines, everything. At present, it is under OPTCL, which is not a correct thing, and over a period of time, it should run. No, initially under GRIDCO, it was kept because distribution companies were not able to generate enough money to meet the power purchase cost. That is why it remained with GRIDCO and backed by the government guarantee and all that. But the time has come when it is necessary that it should be done according to the Act, that distribution companies should be given the assigned with the power purchase agreement. 51% equity of 4 DISCOMs were sold at 750.25 crores, whereas the trade payable by of GRIDCO was converted to 49% equity. The sale proceeds were transferred to GRIDCO towards their power purchase receivables from erstwhile DISCOMs. The past arrear for at the time of privatization, what happened? There was a lot of arrear by the distribution companies. So that they had to take over that portion. So whatever sales proceeds come, it has to go to service the past arrear. The past arrear for the period from vesting is to be collected by DISCOMs with a minimum target of 1,000 crores within 5 years. DISCOMs are to invest in capex. This is the mandate for them, to invest the capex for rupees 5,640 crores, and GRIDCO shall transfer the already created assets to DISCOM under capex as equity. AT&C loss, this is a very important thing, because whatever power comes, quite a good amount of it is lost in the process of this aggregated technical and commercial loss. Now, what is this? This is one is because in the transmission lines, there is a loss inherent. And secondly, the theft and other things due to faulty meters and all that, that is the commercial loss. That needs to be reduced, and we will see how much it has been reduced so far. Timely payment of BSP to GRIDCO without fail, and DISCOMs have also benefited with rebates and all that. So this is the purchase. I am not going through the details. Now, this is the AT&C loss about which we are talking. The Tata Power Central Division, now the loss level is 22%. See, the all India level loss level should be below 15%. So this is 22% is fixed by OERC, whereas the actual AT&C law is 21.31. So also the North Distribution Company, that is Balasore and all the area, that is, it is AT&C actual loss is 11.71. TPS OERC to tariff determination. No, this is tariff determination. Actual loss is given. Now, this is the capex. How much they have utilized the money which has been received from particularly from the state government, which is funding the capex, how much they have received and how much they have utilized. This is the percentage. Tariff rise in the retail supply. So 20 paisa increase on it. This gives over a period of time how the tariff has moved. And you will find that one period, and at that time I was also member OERC, the tariff remained constant for 5 years. And 10 paisa per unit has decreased. Now the comparative tariff, I have given a picture for information all our esteemed guests. Odisha, this is comparative tariff. Odisha 5.63, GP, general purpose tariff, which is commercial and industry, 7.60. Now, as against that, Bihar 9.80 is consumer tariff and 12.21 domestic tariff. That means 12.21. Chhattisgarh 5.41 and 8.26. Gujarat 5.23, 5.50. Jharkhand 6.70, 7.95. Madhya Pradesh 8.48, 8.45. Maharashtra 13.40, 12.76. Punjab 7.96, 8.74. And like that you find West Bengal, our neighbor 7.50, 8.81. Now, question is, if the PPAs are assigned to the distribution companies, then the margin which GRIDCO is taking, about 4 paisa, that will come to the consumer, number one. And number two, the distribution companies, they will renegotiate the PPA, because most of the PPAs have almost run their period, will renegotiate and bring it to a price which will naturally, the benefit will come to the consumers. So it is necessary that the power purchase agreements, instead of remaining with GRIDCO, and it comes to the distribution companies. Now, question will arise, what will happen to GRIDCO? Well, GRIDCO will remain as a trading company. As it is remaining now, it will remain whatever surplus power it comes and trades. It will trade. So there is absolutely no fear that it is going to wind up and all that. Only thing is the functioning will change. Now, demand elasticity, this I have given. I will give the details now. Our state average demand is 4,640 megawatt. State peak demand that happened in 23-24 was 6,432. Instantaneous peak reached 7,156 on 28/5/24. And how much power we are receiving from different sources. Central sector thermal, we are receiving, that is NTPC, mostly NTPC, 2067.64, our quota, which has been fixed by the Energy Department, Energy Ministry, Government of India. Central sector hydro, 276.59, state sector thermal, 2914.48, state sector hydro. This is mostly our OHPC generation, 2094.80. Non-zonal renewables like SHEP, biomass, wind, 450.65. Total solar is 1491.25. About solar, I will deal in detail. So GRIDCO total is 8,844.73. This is the GRIDCO's share. Against that, we see the average demand is 646 and peak demand is 6,432. So that is that. And instantaneous portion also is met now with GRIDCO. Only question is solar power is not available during the night time, evening hours. This is the sales, the increase with load growth. This is the EPS report published by the Central Electricity Authority. what will be the projected over a period of time, and what is our demand. This is the upper line is there focused, and the actual is the red line. Consumer services introduced through the one, or according to the reforms, there is one OERC has come into existence, which is an independent quasi-judicial body, which has got the control over the distribution companies, transmission company, and everybody. So over a time to time, it fixes tariff, and also the other activities what are supposed to be done by them, not only tariff collection of tariff, but consumer service and some other things. 24/7 active call centers for consumers. These are not there previously. Online application platform for various services like new connection, replacement of old meter service cables, SCADA enabled substations for ease of operation, consumer service centers at various locations, dedicated fuse call centers, increase in smart metering base, digital payment avenues for UPS. Now about the smart metering, I will tell you one thing. They will put a meter which will record how much you are consuming over a period of time, and also on daily basis. Now that meter, once you make payment, that information will stored in the meter, and whatever in the monthly charges it comes, it will deduct automatically and give you a signal that this is what is your balance, so that no bill is needed. You will manage with this arrangement. I think that is creating little confusion because people are not acquainted. Over a period of time, it will be all right. And it needs that consumers should also, the distribution companies should also educate the consumers on this, particularly in rural areas. Now, this government of Odisha has published Odisha Renewable Energy Policy. OES has framed the following regulations for renewable energy. OERC, promotion of renewable energy through green energy open access, regulation 2023. This regulation has energy banking provision for both generators and consumers. Energy banking means just suppose somebody has generated more than required, so that extra which has gone there remains as a banking. Whenever it needs, it comes to the particular distribution company or to the state. Now, this is one thing which all of us will be interested in, and this is a very important thing. Now, there is a lot of stress now about renewable energy because of climate change, and we are changing over to the renewable part. We want to reduce thermal generation because discharge of carbon dioxide due to burning of coal increases the atmospheric temperature, for which the climate change takes, and we are facing the problems now, right now. That is why it is that we should go for renewable energy. This floating solar project, this is one thing which will really become viable. And I will tell you that I made an estimate that we have got quite a good number of reservoirs. If 20% of that area is utilized by using floating panels, it is just like outside whatever panel is there, but they will be kept floating through some arrangements where we can generate 20,000 megawatt. Just imagine we can generate 20,000 megawatt. Well, question is that where money will come. Per megawatt, it will take about 5 crores to generate. If we once our intention is the government of Odisha comes forward that this is what we are going to develop, the private companies, they will jump to invest there because they will be mostly benefited. They will get a lot of, by using green energy, they get a rebate of rupees 2 per unit. that is the rebate. And secondly, lot other things according to the policy. So investment will not be a big problem. Only question it is to be tied up. And for the present, there is in NTPC. Recently, NTPC has done in their distribution company their generating company in Andhra Pradesh, where in the generating area, the intake channel, they have put solar power, which is generating about 100 megawatt, and they are able to meet their auxiliary consumption from that particular area. And that is a very good thing. And sometimes I wonder that why OPGC is not doing the same thing in the Mahanadi intake channel from which it is bringing power. Now there is an attempt, this floating solar project in a Rengali. This will be implemented through NHPC and ZCOL. ZCOL is another unit, Green Energy Development Corporation. This is a subsidiary of OHPC, which is functioning, and through the NHPC and ZCOL, this is being taken up. Then Rengali Reservoir Floating Solar PV Farm, 100 megawatt solar PV project that is currently in the permitting stage. Sam Metallics Floating Solar, some private developers, they have also started doing this. 50 megawatt captive floating solar power project that is being set up in Sam Metallics and Energy in, I think, Raurkela. Floating solar installations can help optimize land use. See, floating solar has got a lot of advantages. If we do that, no land acquisition is necessary, no rehabilitation, no question of displacement people. You do it, and secondly, the generation becomes more because there is cooling effect in the bottom of the thing, so that the efficiency is more. So we have got all plus things for floating units. Now, challenges in reducing carbon footprint. Our worry now is to how to reduce carbon footprint. We are going for green energy because we want to reduce the thermal generation, which is generating a lot of CO2, carbon dioxide, which is going to the atmosphere and increasing the temperature. Now, that is this carbon footprint, how it will reduce? Transportation. Heavy duty trucking, shipping and aviation, if you can avoid. Manufacturing unit, iron, steel, cement, glass and chemicals. These generate a lot of this CO2, energy, power and refining. Odisha status. Steel industries concentration is very high. Thermal power dependency, 71.17. Gridco RPO, that is the obligation, renewable power obligation, is 12.96% of total consumption. This is the way ahead, which I have mentioned earlier. DISCOMs do not have full control over the PPA as per the vesting order, which debars them from scouting. Cheaper power and unnecessary insulation from vagaries of power purchase cost dynamics. Gridco should act as a power trader only. SLDC operates as an extended arm of OPTCL functionally, though accounts have been separated, which is against the spirit of the Act. According to the Act, it should be an independent body. In other states also, SLDC is directly under the state government, and through SLDC, the government monitors the power failure, the interruption, and whatever happens, the functioning of the entire power sector. The generation, because every generation, everything is recorded there on a time to time, minute to minute basis. Now, open access is not properly promoted. Open access is, for example, I am generating power. I have given a particular thing to the state, and I want to surplus power, I want to send it to some other consumer. That is through the wires. It will go through the wires. The wires belong to the transmission company. The open access is to permit them to go. There, a charge is taken by the EHT by the transmission company, which is quite high, and that OERC should see that it is reduced so that to a manageable level, so that because ultimately this comes back to the consumer, the cost of power becomes less. For EST consumers, still more than 20% of the tariff, which is against tariff policy. OERC must reduce CSS to make OA a lucrative option. Gridco, which is a power trader, keeps monopoly on the open access consumers in terms of so-called commercial clearance. Because now at present, Gridco, if somebody approaches Gridco, it is up to Gridco to allow it or to say deny it. Gridco is the nodal agency for development of renewable energy in the state, though it is obligated entity. Now, DISCOMs are nodal agencies for development of rooftop solar, which affects their commercial interest. A separate agency like ORIDA should be declared as nodal agency for such type of program. This is what my suggestion. EV charging stations are yet to come up in a significant way, though our EV fleet is getting bigger over time. Vehicle to Gridco tariffs should be determined and arbitrage in this field should be allowed. Agricultural pump solarization has not taken place due to very low agricultural tariff in our state, which is contradictory to the tariff policy, which mandates that tariffs should not go beyond 50% of cost of power, cost of supply. Transmission loss, which is about 3.15%, is not reducing due to idle lines and supports. Rampant use of Section 123 electrified discomes on our consumers. No coordination between OPTCL and DISCOMs for proper evacuation of power. Though pump storage plants are being established at 2 places, respective battery energy storage system is lacking. By 2030, renewable purchase obligation has to reach 43.33%. Odisha has a CGP capacity of more than 10,000 MW. For this, they will import RE power and export their surplus conventional power through OA. For this, OA for simultaneous import and export of power is required, which is not available in Odisha. Infrastructure for interstate deviation settlement mechanism should be in place to enable immediate implementation. So there should not be any further planning for establishment of more thermal power plants. Rather, more number of renewable sources, particularly solar, small hydro, and wind are to be developed. Odisha has a offshore wind potential at a higher hub height of the particular, that means if you have got a more tower, go higher up, you get a better velocity of the wind and which can generate power. For getting green tag for the product and to meet RPO, our CGBS are to back down. I think that is all. Any questions?
Okay, but now it is the discussion is complete. Either our Vivek Patnaik or Pratap Rao, you can raise any questions.
Sir, I have one question.
Again,
Sir, I have one question. In one of your slides, it was shown that the tariff in Odisha is lower than other states, what they are charging. But I was going through the PFC audit report for 2020-21 or 21-22. I don't remember exactly the year, wherein it has been commented that across the country, around 119 distribution companies are functioning, and the average tariff charged by them is 79% less than what is being charged by the distribution company in Odisha.
No, you see, I have also gone through that report. It indicates its apprehension. The real fact is something different what I showed you, because this is a figure which has come through the Central Electricity Authority. It's not that I have compiled it. It is the Central Electricity Authority which has compiled. I am merely copied and pasted it in my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Question is, this tariff which I have shown, there is also scope to reduce it. As I told you, that if the PPAs are
Directly
assigned by
the
the distribution companies to the distribution companies, and GRIDCO is no more there in the power transaction business, so that probably will about 20 paisa per unit. That is my estimate. Because GRIDCO is taking 4 paisa and another 16 paisa minimum, these people will be able to reduce by renegotiating the power purchase agreement. So this is how we are it is always a dynamic situation. It is not that what we have seen today, it will remain same tomorrow, because it is always a dynamic situation, as you know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. Hello.
Yes.
Give your introduction.
I am Balmukund Das,
Yeah.
a retired chief engineer of electricity. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Vishwajana sir. You have given full gamut of electrical power sector, starting from generation to the distribution and regulatory affairs. It's very well documented. But I support this presentation, but I like to say that is something is missing both in the state level as well as the government of India level, national level, that we are not having a good planning. I am just giving you with the
Balmukund babu, ଆପଣ କଥାଟା କ୍ଲିୟରଲି ଶୁଭୁନି, ଟିକେ ଭଲ କି ଜୋରରେ କହନ୍ତୁ, ଆସ୍ତେ ଆସ୍ତେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ମାନେ ମୋର ଭାବୁଛି ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଇଲେକ୍ଟ୍ରିସିଟି ପ୍ଲାନିଂଟା ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଲେଭେଲରେ, ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଲେଭେଲରେ କିମ୍ବା ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଲେଭେଲରେ ଠିକ୍ ଭାବରେ ହଉନାହିଁ। ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ୱିଥ୍ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦେଇ କହୁଛି।
No, that I entirely agree with you. You don't have to give an example. What you have observed is correct. Very much correct.
I am just observing our GRIDCO total requirement 8,800 megawatt from all sources. Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes, it is just
Yes,
audible.
Yes.
And hydro is only 2,094.
Yes.
See, the mismatch is too much. That means hydrothermal mix or other mix is only 25%. Earlier in our when we joined the service, it was about 55% mix, but now it has come down to 25%. This is the state level. In that respect, our state is very good in comparison to national level. In national level, the till date hydropower potential only 46, hydropower installation only 46,000 megawatt, and the thermal and other things are 4 lakhs megawatt. So there the mix is only 16%, which is very bad for the country for the to keep up the peaking power and other emergencies. So therefore, that is one of my observation. The second observation is that when we are talking about this way forward, we have completely neglected this nuclear power plant, nuclear power generation. In fact, I am just want to tell you that I had published 2 articles in the Samaj, 2 articles given the importance of nuclear power plant, because what the world is going today, they are replacing all the old thermal stations with the nuclear power stations. But we are so much conservative in our thoughts that when we hear nuclear, means we think something disaster is coming. which I have already written in my article.
No, you
The
are
thing
very
is that,
right.
sir, let me
Also,
complete, sir.
uh,
Yes, sir. The nuclear is only less than 2% of the total generation. Whereas the developed countries, like small countries, France has got 70%. Latvia, Estonia, they have got some people have got 80% of generation. And it is so therefore that is something we have in a way ahead. These engineers or the bureaucrats have to sit down and check out a good planning for the country. Otherwise, the country is going to face a
Sir,
drastic shortage of
sir,
electricity
the
power. And everything.
already lot of private sectors has gone bidding for nuclear power projects. Even Jindal Power has gone for 1 lakh megawatt for that, sir. This is the
Sir,
latest
sir,
news
these
to
are,
go through that.
I can only tell you, sir, these are only our figures for good reading, for consumption of the citizens.
No,
Is
no,
it
no.
just these figures?
These are the recent biddings for last 3 months. You just go through the news that these private sectors have entered to the nuclear power generation, and the government has gone for that. Government of India scheme has declared, and a lot of power sector like Adani, your Jindal Power, Tata Power, they have already shown interest and have gone for bidding for this. They have a massive plan for investment.
in fact, this nuclear power project, which Balamukula Das rightly observed, that is picking up. Initially, it could not happen, as you know, because of people's resistance. They have something terrible will happen and all that. If we remember near
That
Khordha,
perception was there, sir.
in Khordha side, we had a plan of having a generation of 10,000 megawatt of nuclear power. But unfortunately, it could not, it remained in pen and paper. Nothing could happen in ground because of mass agitation by people. So these are the facts which we have to face. But what Mr. Das has observed, it is quite genuine and it needs to be done, because in other countries, where you see France, Germany, they are 100% green power. They don't have thermal power at all. Because they have gone through a lot of, you see this thermal power also, we can generate and use it for green power. For example, the steam which is generated, it can be stored in concrete vaults in the ground, and then during the night time it can be injected into the boiler, and it will run the generator as it is happening.
Generator and generate powers.
That's what is in other countries are done, but in our country nothing has happened so far. I think these are the areas which needs to be really focused, and the concern is really genuine by everybody that somehow or other we have to reduce this thermal power, conventional thermal power, so that
And,
at least this
sir,
climate change is controlled.
Prejudice, climate change has also declared the nuclear power energy should be treated as a green energy, non-polluting energy.
Yes, you are right. You are right.
But government of India has no plans for the for the nuclear.
No, it is because of consumers' resistance. You remember, after all, the government is by the people. So if there is a people resistance, natural government will back out. This is the problem.
Okay, sir, let us listen from Vivek
No,
Patnaik.
no,
Can
sir.
you listen?
On 26th of February 2024, the Government of India has unveiled a major plan for private sector participation in nuclear power generation. So, a lot of already company like Adani Power,
Right,
Jindal,
right.
and Tata Power, they have already participated. And why I'm speaking, because I am from a thermal power plant. I'm working as senior corporate executive, and since there is always a call for the environmental protection, and fossil power is not always good for the environment, and fossil power like that you so called thermal, day by day the coal reserves is depleting. Therefore, that is a future vision for every government. It is not India, also in the international era. So things are going on, and in India it is also changing. That thing just I want to highlight.
Yeah, that
Okay,
is correct.
and the people of Bhavpur area, they came with the thengas to drive
No,
out
sir,
these
no,
those people.
sir,
So this was the
sir,
situation.
for last 22 years, I'm in greenfield projects in various thermal power plants in private sector because land acquisition, putting power project, these are huge challenges. I have worked in Jharkhand, I have worked in Madhya Pradesh, I have worked in Chhattisgarh, I have worked in other places also. So I have seen all these things. The challenges are very natural because due to lack of proper RNR policy and a proper rehabilitation of the displaced people, these things are coming out. But if it is properly checked out and properly it's planned, then things can be controlled and can manage. It is not a huge factor. We are facing both in even coal blocks, and we are also facing when we are going to put a new project, a power project. These are very natural.
Okay, let us listen from our Vivek Patnaik, who have proposed the subject, what he says on this topic. Sir, Mr. Vivek Patnaik,
Sir,
sir, can you?
actually, yes, sir. Sir, actually, we are, that is that part is in the past, actually, people opposing nuclear energy.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Government is seriously thinking about nuclear energy. The Prime Minister visit to America. They have been
Actually,
the
it is here. Sound is breaking. We are not able to hear you.
The sound is breaking. The sound is breaking.
You have got a defect. It is not clear. You have got some defect.
We
Sir,
are going to see more
sir, please
soon
connect once more. Voice is
than
breaking.
later.
Hey, Dipanabu, you have got defect. Please stop.
Energy because sir, we are committed. Our government is committed.
And not audible. Why are you in the line?
Sir, one more point. Just I want to highlight. The government of India has earmarked
Yes,
a futuristic plan for 26 USD, 26 billion American dollar for investment in a private sector in nuclear energy in India, sir. This is the government of India plan.
Right, right.
26
Very
billion
right.
dollar. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, can you listen from Mr. Vivek Patnaik, sir?
No.
Vivek Patnaik is there.
Vivek Patnaik is there.
Yes, very much.
Sir, please give your comments.
Yes.
Namaste, namaste, sir.
Namaskar. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine, sir.
You see, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, like Mr. Vijay Jana, I have been associated with the sector since a very long time. I was Secretary Energy, Government of Odisha, when the reform was initiated, where State Electricity Board was dissolved and a regulatory body like OERC came in. And of course, distribution was separated from transmission. Generation was also separated from distribution. Well, Hydro Corporation was set up and thermal power station was also there. And since then, a lot of changes have taken place. Well, at that point of time, shortage of power is acute. Odisha had all the minerals that we can think of, but mineral to be converted into metal, a metallurgical process requires high requirement of power, and we didn't have. We depended upon thermal power. Consciousness for environment was much less. I'm talking of early 90s. And today, the world is not thinking in terms of environment. We have no option but to go towards generation of power through a non-thermal process. Okay. First, we can attempt green hydrogen. That's a new thing. Just the way aircraft were being propelled by fossil fuel in the past, the aircraft consumption of fuel has substantially changed in favor of biofuel. And also, Airbus has a plan to produce aircraft to fly based on hydrogen. In my civil service career, I had spent a lot of time in air transport industry. In those days, Soviet Union was also thinking of propelling aircraft with hydrogen. It used to be called IL-96. I had gone to the factory and seen it. Unfortunately, Soviet Union broke up and there was decline in air transport industry in Soviet Union. Now hydrogen has come in. And this is a thing which we must have. I saw the newspaper that Odisha government is also thinking in terms
Yes,
of
green
inviting
hydrogen, yes.
Green hydrogen. Yes, that is green hydrogen. I hope you are a student of science. You will understand it very well, how the hydrogen is produced. And, well, it can be produced through electrolysis process, but that is one way. There are other ways of producing hydrogen. I heard that Singapore government and government of Odisha are negotiating for establishing green hydrogen. It's a good step forward. Secondly, as Mr. Vijay Janas mentioned, there is a need to also harness wind power. I have seen in the European countries, particularly in the Central Europe, as you go from Zurich to, let us say, to Vienna, en route you will find so many windmills.
Wind powers, yes.
Yes. And the same thing we had attempted in Odisha also. The windmills were set up in Puri area. But that time the technology had not developed. For instance, solar power technology had not developed earlier as it has developed now. Today, to increase solar power, we have taken a number of measures, as very rightly Vijay mentioned, about floating panels. You can see we have a lot of opportunity. Mahanadi reservoir itself. There are so many reservoirs in Odisha.
In Gujarat, Adani has already started that.
Yes, and Odisha has started. Odisha has started. There is, we have a lot of entrepreneurship in Odisha itself. I have been associated with Odisha for a long time, although I had a break in my career, but I know Odisha has a lot of entrepreneurship. And we can go forward with that. Secondly, apart from the fact that green energy through hydropower is possible, provided we also attempt to use low-head turbines. If the low-head turbines can be operated, it has been tried, and it doesn't require submergence. It doesn't require land acquisition. And so that kind of approach has to be also taken up. Odisha government had made an attempt to set up low-head turbines near Sindol area. in your Mahanadi. But I don't know, for some reason it was dropped. Then there are countries which are very small countries who have been totally dependent on renewable energy.
Norway, sir. Norway,
Norway.
100%.
Norway, of course. Apart from
Most
Norway,
interesting. So most
Yes.
interesting that the Norwegian government is giving contract to Switzerland, the Indian multinational Bangalore-based company.
yes. You see, in respect to Costa Rica, country to which I go very often, there they generate power 99%, almost 99% renewable power. We have a lot of opportunity, even in Odisha, to generate renewable power. Unfortunately, coal has, although we are a cornucopia of coal, we have so much of coal, but we did not harness coal at the right time. We could have set up a lot of plants. But anyway, forget about that. Although Mr. Trump is still insisting on drill, baby drill, his idea. This is, but I don't think this can be sold. This idea can be sold in India. We should concentrate, one in solar power. Second, we must concentrate on wind power. We have to take up green hydrogen and hydrogen power. Then finally, also, we must try to use other non-renewable, other ways of generating power, which will not depend on coal, but municipal waste. Municipal waste produce a lot of methane gas, and methane can be burned. Of course, it will give rise to some some pollution, but much less than. And this will also attempt to meet the Swachh Bharat program, if that is attempted. So these are my few comments on this topic. Thank you very much, brother. It's quite late in Singapore. I have to retire. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now the time is over. If anybody any concrete suggestion, you can have any suggestion. Nowadays, you know, at Delhi there is due to lack of proper environment. Now, so electricity vehicle is going to have a check on this environment. So, can you suggest anything regarding the motor vehicle on electricity? What is the merits and demerits?
ನಾವು ಚಲಿಯಾಗಿ
Sudhakaram, kuhନ୍ତୁ.
ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ନାଇଁ
Exactly, ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ sir ଯୋଉ କହୁଥିଲେ
ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ଯୋଉ pollution, ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ଯୋଉ pollution ହଉଛି, ସେଥିପାଇଁ now we are depending on electric vehicle.
So electric vehicle, there would be what I expect that too much of imported vehicles, because recently the government of India has reduced the import duty from 110% to 15%. You may call it is a Tesla impact or something, but some good things are happening and some good companies are coming to Indian markets.
Sir, can I make a comment on this electric vehicle? I'm Sunil Bishwal. I'm joined late, but still I have something to say about electric vehicle.
Now we are thinking about that because it will check our environment pollution. So what is your suggestion? Please tell.
Yeah, okay. Is it for me? I'm Sunil Bishwal. Can I make my suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, contrary to popular belief, electric vehicles are not at all environment friendly. I mean, you may find it kind of hard to believe, but what EV is actually doing is shifting the emission from the vehicle to the thermal power station. Because in
Correct.
India, 84% of our electric power is coming from the thermal power stations. So as long as we are charging the electric vehicles on conventional power, it is not at all helping us in mitigating the climate change negative emissions. So it is only shifting from the vehicle to the power station. So maybe solar power may be the solution, but then solar power is also having a flip side. At the moment, we are not discussing because we are in a hurry to switch from the fuel-based motor technology to, I mean, from the thermal power stations to solar power, renewables. But solar panels also are a big environmental nuisance. I mean, 20 years from now, the main topic of discussion then would be how to handle the wastage coming from the solar power panel. There is one more aspect which is not often discussed about the solar panel is that they definitely avoid emission of greenhouse gases. Doesn't mean that they also do not cause emission of greenhouse gases. Every time we manufacture a solar power panel, we are emitting carbon dioxide. And if you sit down to quantify, you would be really puzzled whether to actually adopt solar power as a solution to the energy crisis. As if you ask me, I would say no.
Yes, sir. I very much agree with this. I have read a research paper. Please hear
Same is
me.
the case of battery also.
Just wait.
Yes, exactly.
I have read a research paper that whatever the quantity of power utilized to make a cell, not solar power, solar cells, it cannot the same consumption power throughout its life. Yes, that this is a finding of a research paper which I have read.
Exactly.
And yes, I fully agree. Not the solar panel. Don't speak of the panel. It is the solar cells. The energy consumed by the solar manufacturing solar cell right from the ore mining to the finished solar cell cannot generate the amount of energy it has consumed.
So there is a term. There is a term called embedded emission. I mean, any manufactured product from a factory.
Yes.
Okay, it goes through a cycle. It goes through a manufacturing cycle which has already caused some carbon dioxide emission. Okay.
Yes.
So if you
look not in India, but in other places.
This is a separate topic. I think we should stop here and then discuss it in a separate way.
Another thing, sir. Another thing, sir. You can see the website of Odisha government and website of central government. You cannot find how much solar.
Okay, it's not clear. Okay, in summer, we find most of the places, most of the time there is a power cut. Is our Odisha sufficient in production of electricity?
Odisha is a surplus state. Because those are the private players, those are the private generators, they are exporting power to other places.
But why did the power
energy, solar power has, I tell you, you can check it into account.
Like there is a power cut in different rural areas, different streets, there is a reaction of public. But
this is not lack of, sir, this is not lack of non-availability of power, it is a lack of distribution companies responsibility. Because, and again, there is a, since I am from a IPP generator for generation plant, the transmission loss still, which was high, still it is not reduced. And second, the distribution companies, they are reckless in maintaining the services in the rural areas because they don't think that too much of revenue is generating from that. That is the thing. But in industrial belt and metropolitan city and other cities, they take care of that.
If it is a problem from distribution side, then naturally public will hesitate. In summer, there will be power cut, continuous power cut in different rural areas.
Yes, sir. That is right.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. But
Thank
next
you.
Sunday, we are trying to discuss on different topic if the speakers are available. Now you have all participated. Thanks to Engineer B.C. Chena. He has given his time and discussed most valuable points in detail by a demonstration. And our Vivek Patnaik, he has been at Singapore now from the long distance place. He has joined and presided over the meeting. Thanks, Mr. Vivek Patnaik. And thanks, Mr. Prakash Kumar Jena and Sukant Biswal, Pratap Raut and Engineer Bal Mukundas. Thanks for your participation and in asking different things and interaction. We'll all now the close. The time is already there. Now we'll close our meetings. Thanks everybody. Good night.
1 minute, 1 minute,
Thank you.
1 minute. Janavo,
Good
Jana
night.
Sahab, do you remember me? I am Sudhakar Patri. I was your neighbor.
I remember you very much, Sudhakar babu. ଭଲ କି ମନେ ଅଛି
ବହୁତ ଦିନ ପରେ ଦେଖା ହେଲା ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଅଫିସ
ଦିଥର ଦେଖା ହେଇଛି କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା ହେଇପାରିନି I remember you very much.
ଆଉ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ କେମିତି ଅଛନ୍ତି ମ୍ୟାଡାମ
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସ୍ୱର୍ଗରେ ବର୍ଷେ ହେଲାଣି she has passed away.
ଜେନା ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ନେକ୍ସଟ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସେସନ ରଖିବା ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ମାନେ ପାୱାର ସେକ୍ଟର ଯୋଉ ତାରିଫ ର ଯୋଉ ଲିଗାଲ କମ୍ପ୍ଲାଏନ୍ସ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଦି ଲିଗାଲ ହର୍ଡଲ୍ସ ସେଇ ବିଷୟରେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିବା ଗୋଟେ ନେକ୍ସଟ ସେସନ ପାଇଁ ସାର୍ ଜେନା ସାର୍ଙ୍କୁ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ ମୋର
ହଁ ରଖନ୍ତୁ କିଛି नो ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ସେଥିରେ ଏକ୍ସପେକ୍ଟ କରିବି ମାନେ ରାଦର ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ସଜେଷ୍ଟ ଆମର
ରେଗୁଲେଟରୀ ମ୍ୟାଟର୍ସ
ହଁ ରେଗୁଲେଟରୀ ମ୍ୟାଟର୍ସ OERS ରେ ଜଣେ କାହାକୁ ଡାକନ୍ତୁ and preferably Mr. Priyavrata Patnaik who is well acquainted ତାଙ୍କୁ ଡାକିଲେ he will throw light.
Sir ଆପଣଙ୍କ distribution section head ଟା କୋଉଠି sir କଟକ ନା ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆପଣ distribution system head sir କୋଉଠି ରହନ୍ତି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ନା କଟକ
distribution
ଅଲଗା ନା ଆପଣ ସେସୁ ଅଲଗା ତାଙ୍କର
ସେସୁ କରନ୍ତି ନା
ନାଇଁ ସେସୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ନାହିଁ ଆଜ୍ଞା ତା ଜାଗାରେ ଟାଟା ପାୱାର
ତାପରେ TPCODL ସେଟା ହଉଛି ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ହେଡକ୍ୱାର୍ଟର
ଇଲେକ୍ଟ୍ରିସିଟି ବିଲ୍ ରେ ତ ଆସୁଛି TPC
ଆଉ ତାର ହେଡ ହଉଛି ମିଷ୍ଟର ଅରବିନ୍ଦ ସିଂ
ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ବସନ୍ତି ତ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରେ
ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରେ ବସନ୍ତି
କୋଉଠି କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ ବିଲ୍ଡିଂ ଟା
ପାୱାର ହାଉସ ରେ ତାଙ୍କ ଅଫିସ ଟା ଆଗରୁ ଯୋଉ ପୁରୁଣା ପାୱାର ହାଉସ ଆମର ନଥିଲା କି ପାୱାର ହାଉସ ଛକ ସେଇଠି ଅଫିସ ଟା ଯୋଉ ଆମର ପୁରୁଣା ଥିଲା BDDD ଅଫିସ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଅକୁପାଏ କରି ତଳ ଉପର କରିକି
ସେମାନେ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ନେଇଛନ୍ତି କାହିଁକି କଣ୍ଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଓଡିଶା ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ତ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ନା ନାଇଁ
yes
so it is ultimately regulating him is ଯୋଉ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରାକ୍ଟ ନଉଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା ତ terms and conditions and something is there
no regulatory commission is an independent body
so that they will come Sina. I don't know much. I don't have much knowledge on that. So, excuse me.
Okay. Thanks. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Namaskar.
Vijay. Good. It was nice listening to you, Vijay. So also Pratap Kumar.
It is all because of you. ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ କହିଥିଲେ ମୁଁ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ତିଆରି କରିଥିଲି ସେତେବେଳଠୁ
ଭଲ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ କରିଥିଲି it is a
very good presentation and it's I must give credit to Parada. He is pursuing with his think tank and organizing discussions from international matters to electricity on matters of religion and philosophy. Very good, excellent.
Very good.
But I'm very happy with you, Mr. Pratap
Raut.
You seem to have good knowledge on various subjects. I am very impressed by you. You see, how old are you?
Now just I reached 50.
50, huh?
Yes.
50. Well, you are younger than my son also. Good. I'm very happy.
I am for last
You are in
around
Chhattisgarh.
23 yes, 23 years in power sector, thermal power
Good.
sector.
Excellent. So I think you must remain in touch with Vijay Jana.
Sir, sir.
He has wide experience in power sector.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, very good. Remain in touch with him. Good.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Good
God
night.
bless
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much, Vijay. I must go
Again,
to sleep now. Huh?
নমস্কার তারপর কেবে
Namaste.
ফিরবে
Namaste.
কেবে ফিরবে
Next week, Furuj. Next week.
Okay.
A week. A week. Thank you.
Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.